In Russia, there's a new craze. This craze is called Ovechkin. Ovechkin. And apparently, Russians have grown tired of the feathers in Kirkorov's rear. Their hearts are no longer stirred by Buzova's thighs, Gundyaev's stand ups, or other masterpieces of Russian thought and culture. But they can't seem to create beloved idols, national idols, even from the criminals of the special military operation. And don't forget, the primary need of the masses is still to have an idol. And thus, someone named Ovechkin, a hockey player, has been chosen as such. He is now on my Telegram channel. You can see how a giant demonstration is moving through the center of St. Petersburg, electrified with excitement and adoration for Ovechkin. Ovechkin is loved as if, well, I don't know, as if he at least stole a Mars rover from NASA or managed to do the impossible by mixing vodka with quark gluon plasma, thereby, in general, overturning all the dogmas of high energy physics. But in reality, Ovechkin's achievement needs to be understood a bit more modestly. This is a person who, yes, skillfully whacks a piece of rubber with a crooked stick. And to this highly intellectual activity, it must be said, he is part of an American team by virtue of residence, and the fact doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what he says by virtue of residence, having long since sent Russia away, along with all the Spartaks, Dynamos, and Russians. At the same time, yes, he remains pure fluff, emitting quite fluffy sounds, but generally, thinking, as is known, is not part of a hockey player's duties and is not required, does not enter. In general, it must be understood that to become a skilled hockey player, it requires a lot. What not to know and not to understand? Limited consciousness and such a small mind are an inevitable price for years of training and cultivating form. And there's nothing offensive about it because everyone chooses their own path. Any intellectualism requires not only a huge amount of time, but also a corresponding biography. And, well, let's say the existing knowledge could react with these facts that are known, and demanding intelligence from a hockey player is a foolish fear. And with Ovechkin, the situation is even stranger because many formerly Russian people became famous only after parting with Russia. And what did the United States of America do? They bought the organism, capable of skating and swinging that crooked stick. And they use it in their hockey. Of course, the words spoken by Ovechkin ignite pride in Vata, but he is still an American. Words like, oh, we are Russians, we did it, but he is still an American who consciously chose not to live in Russia. And that's the only fact that should be paid attention to. Everything else is verbal, chaff, rhetoric, and fluff. To be clear, I really don't want to offend anyone, but both hockey and all other sports are extremely labor-intensive activities that require many years of training and practice. And these crucial years fall into the period when a person is capable of acquiring and absorbing serious knowledge. And any professional sport takes up this time, and as a result, dulls the mind, primarily developing in general zoological and primitive motor skills. And we see the terrible consequences at the level of the development of Rodnina, Plushenko, and so on and so forth. In other words, to put it simply, these enthusiasms in Russia have no basis because the Americans have promoted Ovechkin and his cult. And this cult And this image is an excellent bait that should be swallowed. All sorts of weightlifters, runners. It's excellent advertising for American sports. However, these words, "we are Russians, we did it," which Ovechkin shouted, were probably also shouted by the missile operator who killed 9 children in Kryvyi Rih with one strike.